Hello and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 307. I'm Laura, also known as Lola. That was a deep
It
sigh.
was. I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. It is Wednesday, July 13th,
It is.
2016. We're recording late because Laura was in Boston at the International
That-
Literacy
and I thought I was
thing.
coming back on Monday, and I totally wasn't. I came back yesterday.
Yeah. And
Ugh,
nobody feels like recording after a day of travel.
no.
Um,
And I was with my coworkers for 5 days straight, which there's nothing wrong with that, and they're very nice people. But I also needed a little bit of time to recoup. And then I met them this morning for coffee and then turning in all our receipts together,
mm,
as you do, so we could fail at paperwork together. Anyway, this is a knitting show. That's the word on the street.
most of the time.
And would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first? Did I even let you introduce yourself?
Yes, I introduced
Okay,
myself.
good.
This is how many times we've done it. We can't even remember where we are anymore.
Well, there's that always.
One, two, three, four. Why don't you go first if you don't mind?
Okay. I am knitting on a sock. And the very last bit around. This is yarn from Nomadic Yarns. All right, there we go. So this is yarn from Nomadic Yarns. It is the McGonagall colorway from Harry Potter. And her stuff comes in cute little balls like that. So it's got like a forest green, a light gray, a like bluish slate, and then like an eggplant. And the green is a larger stripe, and then the three other colors are smaller stripes, which is really cool. So I did a fish. I took this with me. This is what I worked on. So when you go to a conference, sometimes you're waiting for sessions to switch, and typically I spend that time wandering around the floor. But by the first day was over, I had more books that I could possibly even bring home,
Yeah.
which they all fit. But I had filled my suitcase with books after the first day, and I was like, I could go back on the floor and get more free books, but and it was Sunday, and there was a post office right there, but I couldn't ship them because it was Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
So I would have had to bring them back to the convention center on Monday to ship them. So I made the executive decision not to go back and get more free books. So I sat and knit, and I hung out with Knitting Apron Lady for a while. She's a knitter who's also a reading specialist. I met a lot of knitters, actually. It's amazing how you meet knitters at things like that, because I'm just sitting there knitting in between sessions, waiting for them to switch, and people come up and start talking to you. It was lots of
Yeah.
fun. Anyway, it's a fish lips kiss heel because I have that memorized now, so it seems like an easy one to do. I probably messed up now that I'm looking at it. Oh, but
It looks fine.
um, so that's a version of a short row heel. That's $1 download, and I'm knitting this on size zeros, probably getting around 7 stitches to the inch. It was knit from the toe up, and I'm using some high sharps, and that is about it. It's in my cute little the Tangled Skein bag with owls, because I'm
Aw.
nothing if not thematic. So that is the first thing that I have on my needles. The second thing I have on my needles is in my Joanna Springs bag, and she's updating these, I think, tonight.
Yeah,
And
I
she's
think
going to
it's
have
tonight.
this creepy beaver in there. I saw it. Did you see she's got pigs? Because
Hmm.
I thought you would like
A
that.
sassy pig.
And I like the, like, scowling owl.
Yeah.
So,
Like somebody woke him up from a nap. He's mad.
well, there you go. So I have in this very cool Joanna Spring Knit Spin Farm bag two cakes, which are
Whoa.
tangled beyond all reason. The first, so this is the main color, and it is Plucky Feet, which is their Superwash Merino Nylon blend, 425 yards in the sugar coated colorway. It's a very bright purple. And then the second, this very cool speckled mess of a ball, is Republic of Wool in the Wrinkle in Time colorway. And this is her twist fingering base, which is an 80/20 superwash merino nylon blend, 400 yards. And what I am knitting out of it is an Amba O'Brien pattern. Yeah, I'm showing you the right side. which is getting a little bit twisted. It is a shawl that is,
Kalara.
yes, that is worked sideways, and it has a center double decrease line, which sometimes I forget to do the center double decrease, but whatever. It just makes it a little bit wider. It's asymmetrical in that one side is growing faster than the other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm digging how it's turning out.
Yeah, you just had a teeny tiny little bit last week.
Yeah, so I'm through, there's two increase sections. I'm through the first and almost through the second, which worries me a little bit because it's supposed to be 80 inches long, and I'm this far done, and I have 16. No, I have less than that. I have around 10, so 20 more rows to go before I'm done with the increases. And I would say it's probably 30 inches long.
Do you knit straight for a while?
No.
Oh.
So it'll block a little bit differently too. And I don't need, I mean, a 60-inch width shawl is still a decent size shawl. I did go down a needle size on it because I wanted to try, well, first off, I knit pretty loose. And I do like my shawls to not be super, super, like, to look like slutty shawls with all these holes in them. I need them to be a little bit more stable than that. So I'm using 3.5 millimeters.
That's a 4 millimeter needle.
No, this isn't signature.
Oh, okay.
Just to make things more interesting, I like to use needles that look like signatures but aren't, so that you think this is a 4, now a 5. No, it's a 6. Green signatures are 6s.
Right, and they're 4 millimeters.
And 4 millimeters, and this is a green needle, but it is not signature.
This is the new Knit Pro one?
3.5, yeah. These are the Knit Pro Zings.
So is that a 4? Like a US 4?
3.5? I think it's a 4 or 5.
Because 5 I think is 3.75.
Yeah, it's a 4 then. Which is a good, that's what I like to knit my shawls on typically with fingering weight yarn, is a 4.
Oh, I'm totally more of a size like 6 or 7.
Really? Oh my goodness. Oh, that would be lovely. That's never gonna happen. So that's why your shawls are coming out huge and mine are not. I don't even know gauge, silly gauge, but it's getting there. I watched, this was my plane knitting. So as I listened to some audiobooks on the plane and watched people in the airports and talked to my coworkers, this is what I was working on. So
that is a whole lot of together time. Flying out together, being in the same hotel. At least you had your own room. That's got to be nice. But
it is nice.
Eating together
a lot of the time. We did not go to the same sessions because we wanted to be separate. But when I talk about book signings later, we waited in line for book signings together too. We're very together.
Mm-hmm.
We turned in our receipts together today. It's a good thing I like these people. Otherwise, it would have been too much together. But yeah. So the knit things are not my favorite knit prosings. They're nothing like they look like signatures, but they're much duller and they're much lighter. And the join is a little bit, it's not as smooth as the signatures. It's not bad. They're definitely worth the $5 that I paid for them.
That's something. I mean,
yeah. They haven't fallen apart on me. It's actually sometimes nice to use a little bit of a duller needle with certain fibers that are splitty. So I think they'll come in handy for that.
I do like how the color in that variegated is bringing out, or the purple is bringing out the color in the variegated.
Yeah. I picked, the variegated has a little, like every once in a while, it's got these little flecks of purple that are the same as that. So that's how I chose those to go. I'm going to rewind around the outside of this when you...
Nothing like a ball of yarn barf to just really...
Like, it's not even yarn. The outside of the ball just came undone. Oh, yeah. So yeah, that's it for me, those 2 items. I've been spinning a lot more because it's Pour de fleece. But anyway, you talk about what you were knitting on, my friend.
So basically, this week I decided that I wasn't gonna knit on pretty much anything that I already had on the needles, because why do that?
Oh
Um,
my gosh, this just keeps coming off.
it just keeps getting worse.
Uh,
Um, so
anyway,
I did knit a little bit on Fort Tryon, which is a Kirsten Kapoor pattern, and it's designed out of Jill Draper mix stuff. I'm trying to get to the end of my row. That's why
one
I'm
of the
talking
Mace
and not
Dixon
showing.
girls just finished that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I have to find them on Instagram. I don't follow them.
they are definitely on Instagram. They have
Uh,
individual accounts and then they have a Mason Dixon account.
we don't
FYI.
have a Knit Girls account because I am too lazy to even really keep up mine. So,
Yeah.
okay. So knitting. Let me show you what I've been working on. The first is the Fort Try-On. That's in Bling Your String bag, the most recent ones that she sent us.
Oh,
And I've just started this pink color. This is, I don't remember what it is. Mrs. Jones, maybe? Mrs. Robinson. Uh,
here's to you, Mrs. Robinson.
yeah. So I've just started the pink. You do 22 rows of garter and, well, for 11 ridges, and then you do 12 in the other colors. I tried a new technique, and I'm not really certain if I'm going to keep that. Oh crap, I dropped a stitch way down there. That is not good.
Uh-oh.
Shoot, monkey. I'll have to
Shoot, monkey.
I'll have to do some dupe stitch there to try to fix that.
I do that all the time, by the way. The only time when I actually drop it back down, like, or go back is on a bind off that I've totally, like, if I drop a stitch on a bind
Yeah.
off, then I go back. The rest of the time, I just deep stitched in.
So I didn't want to. I love garter stitch, but I don't necessarily love purling 600 stitches.
So you like garter stitch when it's knit flat and not in
Right.
the round.
Correct. I like the way it looks, but I just don't enjoy doing the 600 purl stitches every other row. So I went online, and there are a couple
Doing
of
the wrap and turn thing.
there's a couple different ways, right? So Paula has a video out there. Paula of Knitting Pipeline
Oh, really?
has a video out there where she demonstrated a technique that Amy Beth of the Fat Squirrel Speaks talked about, which is essentially a wrap and turn
Yeah.
um, to do your
Garter in the round.
garter in the round. And I had done that before on a hat, and I think I just didn't really do it well, and it just, I didn't like the way it looked. So I decided I was going to try something different. So there's a blog post out there by Flegel, who
Yeah.
is very creative, and
She's an interesting person.
she really is. She's got a diverse history in crafts. She's like one of the few people in the United States who has some license in this specialized Chinese embroidery, and
Is it Chinese or Japanese? I don't know. Anyway, she's
one
an
of the two.
interesting she's an interesting
And she's
person.
an amazing hand spinner.
Yes,
But
supported
yeah.
spindler.
But she's got a video, well, not a video, a tutorial out there that Tech Knitting referenced, where you can do garter stitch in the round by essentially using two different strands of yarn and just knitting around and then turning your work and using the other ball of yarn to knit the other way.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I did that, but I'm not completely certain. Like, there's no video out there on it that I could find. If you do use this technique and there is a video out there on it, please link me. I mean, it looks really simple in the way that she explains it, but I don't think I did it right, because I did it after the beginning of the row. So there are increases that are done in the corners.
Mm-hmm.
And I did mine. I started right after
Oh,
the increase, but you can very clearly see.
yeah.
And this is after I sort of massaged it. It was really super loosey-goosey there. And that could just be because I'm not pulling it tight when I turned it around or whatever. I don't know.
So are you going to continue with that technique, or are you
No,
going
I'm going to do wrap and turn.
to? Okay. Well,
Um,
that'll be interesting to see the difference between the two.
yeah, I mean, I kind of wish I wasn't experimenting, but um,
Yeah.
on something with so many stitches, it would be much smarter to just cast on a little square
Yeah,
and
and do
play
like
with it.
a swat. Like you could do like a barn raising type square,
But
but
I'm not known for being very smart, so
that's not true.
somebody else should do that. Anyway, so this is out of Jill Draper's. Jill Draper makes stuff in the Esopus base,
You know who just got a ton of that in? House of Yarn.
House of Yarn. We'll be visiting them next week.
We will. That's why I brought it up because I like visiting House of Yarn.
So that's one thing I worked on for a little bit. I worked on that while I watched this show on Netflix called Penny Dreadful. I guess it was
Oh
on
yeah.
Showtime or something.
Mhm.
It's very weird. Um, I'll talk about it later. Let's see what else. One of the other things I cast on was this has been in my. That is not the right pattern. This has been in my queue for a while, and it's the Adirondack
Oh, by
shawl.
Sarah Monty. We met her at Rhinebeck a couple times.
Yeah, and I really like the idea of this, and I think it would actually look really great in handspun. So our friend Lynn gave Laura and I handspun at Maryland Sheep and Wool in these little bags that she made. They're little pandas, but they look like knit stitches too.
Yep.
So she gave us handspun, and because she knows me, she gave me this sparkly red sort of
That's delightful.
handspun. So I cast this pattern on, um, and it's turning out fine, but it's a little dense, and I'm just not certain it's the right fit for this pattern. So I might end up changing the pattern, but um, it's got sections of essentially 10 rows of garter interspersed with these short row sections that are in stockinette.
It's cute. I like it. I like it a lot, actually.
I do like the pattern. I'm just not certain that this yarn is the best way to showcase it. So I might use this for something else. I haven't decided. It calls for a worsted weight wool. This is probably a worsted weight, somewhere between a DK and a worsted. I'm also using size 9, and the pattern calls for 10 and a half, so I'm actually knitting it more densely than the pattern calls for, which also might be part of the reason that I'm not super thrilled with how it's draping. But the pattern is very easy and intuitive.
How many yards does it call for?
200 yard skeins, so 400 yards of a worsted. Uh, the only criticism I have is that it's written, not charted. But at the same time, once you've done 2 sections, you know exactly what's coming. You really
Yeah.
don't even need the pattern anymore. And she does explain that. So it is written all out if you're not comfortable just sort of intuiting what you should do. But at the same time, after about the 30th or 40th row, I knew exactly what I needed to do, so I wasn't even paying attention to the pattern. So I'm not certain whether I'll keep going on that one or not. Right now it's in timeout, but I'll think about it.
What are you gonna bring to? What else do you have to work on?
I'm still showing stuff.
I know. I
I've
was
got
gonna ask
2
you a
more
question.
projects.
I was gonna ask you a question, but I changed like what you were gonna bring to SSK. But then I looked at the show notes and saw you had more.
Yeah.
So I was trying to be patient. I'm not patient.
So the other thing, one of the other things that I cast on was the Stone Croft shawl, and that is by Judy Marples.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, I actually really like the yarn that it's photographed in. And that's in it's a Volmisa blend in the Oleo Virgin, which I think is olive oil, like something.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I really like how her pattern is written. So I cast it on in a Volmisa blend, and this is in the Little Red Riding Hood colorway. Rotkapchen. Sorry, I don't speak German, and my ability to speak any other dialect is just terrible. I'm sorry. This is in one of Joanne's bags. She needs to make more of
Yeah.
these because I really love these because they just open. They've got that like,
It's a new bag. Do you want to see it?
wait until, yes, I do.
Okay.
But yeah.
You
So
finish and then I'll show it to you.
this is Joanna is Slanted Stitches. That is
She
her
is.
shop.
She's one of my local knit group peoples.
Joanne, not Joanna.
Yes, Joanne.
So this is the colorway, red. Shocker. And this is what it looks like. And I've just gotten to the point, I've just gotten through all of the sort of introductory charts. And
Wow.
so this is I thought it was a cable at first, but it's not, it's just a lace panel. And so at this point, it's just going to continue to increase, and I'll get stockinette stitches between the netting and the lace panel here. It'll just continue to increase out that way.
Yeah.
This yarn is really nice to work with. It's my first time using it.
Oh, I love the blend.
Yeah, this one skein you got for me a while back, and it's been sitting there. Oh, I was totally wrong. The stockinette is going to increase here at the end, not here. Sorry. So the way that she breaks up the pattern, like I've already gone through 5 charts in this little bit. So each one is sort of bite-sized, and then once you get to this section where it's all the same except for the stockinette stitches increases, it's a very simple like 8-row chart you just do over and over and over. But I like that she broke up the smaller ones. It made it seem like I'm going to do this chart and then I'm going to go and fold laundry or something. Like it made it more
Approachable.
yeah, easier to just sort of dig into. Okay. So that I've been working on. And the last project that I cast on last night. Oh, goodness. I didn't see this behind my chair. Someone's been in my wool.
Oh my goodness.
That's lovely. My guess would be Neelix. He loves to dig out
Is that
carded.
a bat or is that one
It's
of
a
your...
hand carded that I did out of one of
Okay.
the fleeces, so it can just be run back through. But he loves to pull out carded wool and roll in it. It's his favorite thing. So I'll have
That's
to
really
recard that.
annoying.
But at least it wasn't like a fancy colored bat. So
Yeah, that's true.
all right. So the last thing that I've been working on. Also, this is like the only contribution I have to the show this week. So sorry I'm taking forever, but this is all I
No,
got.
it's fine. Oh, I can't even reach the Joanne bags. I'll show you when you get here.
So this is Stripe Study.
Oh, strip study.
Um, Laura knit one of these last year, or yeah, last year, and this is by Vera Valimaki, and it is so easy. Like once I got past that first color work section, not color work, but like that first
Row.
contrasting color section, I was like, oh, I don't need this anymore. I know exactly what I gotta do.
Yep.
I love
And
it when
it's
people design
super
things that way.
wearable a shawl. Like I wear it all the time and get tons of compliments on my
Yeah, that's what, and I want to, I'm gonna block the bejesus out of this thing. It's gonna be enormous.
Mine is very large.
Let's see. Okay, so I'm knitting it out of the main color is Volmisa Twin, which is the nylon blend one in Neptune.
You can just keep going until you run out of yarn.
That's what I plan to do. And the contrasting color I'm using is a gradient. So the first color is this red. I'm all about red this week. Well, I'm all about red all the time. And then so if you have sensitive ears, I have to pull out a crinkly package. This is a Leading Men Fiber Arts London Fog to Cherry Pie Gradient. So these are the other colors. So it's sort of a dusky red to gray. Yeah, this is the first one. The first one's super bright, and then the rest are very dusky. So it'll, at the bottom, where the widest stripes are, it'll be this gray with that,
Be very patriotic. It's like your 4th of July
it's
one.
totally not, like, this, maybe it's not showing up right, but the shades are not that at all.
Okay.
Stop making me feel bad about my choices in colors.
I'm not. There's nothing wrong with a patriotic shawl.
But that's not what I'm going for. I even, like, I texted it to Gwen, I'm like, is this 4th of July? She's like, no, honey, it's not. But,
That's because Gwen's nice and she wants you to feel better about yourself. I
Shut
have no such
your
qualm.
face. Um, yeah, so, and I'm actually winding these all on the Nosta pin that Laura got me from,
Oh, look at that.
what was it? The
John
festival.
D. That was at the Oxford Yarn Festival,
Okay.
which you get to go with me to next year.
Next year. Yeah, so we have a local guy named John D who makes all kinds of crazy wood. Anything out of wood, really, he can make. And he makes really beautiful ones. So,
Physical
that's. Oh, I haven't
stories.
actually shown you the shawl, have I? Sorry. So this is. I'm in the middle of one of the contrasting color sections. But this is what it looks like right now. So this blue, this is almost a green. It's barely, it must not look like that on the
It
screen.
looks like a navy blue.
Oh no, it's a green, like a, I don't know, like that green, like
Like a turquoisey or like a forest.
not quite a forest. People don't care. Um, it is much less bright than it is showing up on. Wow, that looks like green and orange. Look at that. That is totally not it at all. That's much closer. But this, it's not as blue as it looks. It's more green. Not that I care if it's blue. Uh, so that's what I've been working on since yesterday, as I've been
I'm not
listening
trying
to
to make you
audiobooks.
feel bad
You
about your
totally
hair.
are. You're guilting me about my color
No,
choices.
I think it's going to look
Get out of
nice.
my wool, Neelix. Go, go. Just freaking.
I think you know who the guilty party is.
Anyway, so that's it for me for this show. That's it. I'll talk some more, but I don't really have anything else to show.
I only have one finished object, and it's not really finished, because I'm waiting on some buttons to come, and I have to weave in the ends and block it. But I did finish the knitting on the Wee Lima out of another crafty girl in the Hey, Can I Drive the Bus colorway, which is inspired by Mo Willems' Pigeon. So there it is with its sleeves. It's a wee sweater. So I'm just waiting on buttons, and I'll sew those on and weave in all the ends and then block it, and then it will be ready to gift at SSK. So that is one of the things. And I actually might just mail it. I don't know. I
You
might
should
just mail
just take it
to
to
her.
SSK. Well,
I don't want.
unless it's not done yet.
No, it'll be done, but I don't want to fill Becca's suitcase with stuff. Either, like
Oh,
I
is she
don't want to.
flying?
Yeah, she flies.
Hmm.
Um, so that is the only thing I have done. It was knit on size 7s using another Crafty Girl worsted, which is amazing. I have more of her worsted all over the place because I love it, and I cannot wait to get more at SSK this year. It's one of my favorite yarns. And I'm going to buy 2 skeins of something, I think, and do that shawl that you're knitting. I think that'd be a cool
The
choice.
Adirondack.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. Out of like Gamut or Punky Brewster.
Yeah.
I think it'd also be cool out of a skein of Miss Babs Yowza.
Yeah, it would be.
I think
Because you
that'd
could
be
just keep increasing until you're at the halfway point and then.
weigh it and go. So that is it for me for finished objects. I haven't been knitting a ton. I've been doing more spinning until I went on my work trip. So, things that I have finished. Last time we spoke, I was spinning the first bobbin of the Three Waters Farm Cordale in the Homestead
Purple.
purple colorway. It's still a little bit wet. I had it soaking and I lost track of time. And so, like an hour before we recorded, I put it outside in hopes that it would dry in time. And it kind of did. So this is how it turned out.
Oh, very nice.
It was fractal spun, which means I divided the braid in half and then one half into increasingly smaller segments so that the color repeats would be shorter on that half and longer on the other half. It is 380 yards. So a good bit.
It's very pretty.
Thank you. I like it a lot. It's Cordale. Cordale I find is a little bit of a denser fiber, so my yardage that I tend to get off of it is not as good. It's just a weight It just weighs a little bit more. This one weighs a lot because it's still wet. Um, so that is the Three Waters Farm. I really enjoy her colors. I need to get more of her stuff. The second thing that I finished, and I still have a good bit on one of the bobbins of this one to ply, is Hello Yarn. This was also fractal spun in the Shide Creature colorway. This was Rambouillet. This is the first time I've spun Rambouillet.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me.
So much.
Well, there's that. Look, it matches my shirt.
It does.
I think I wore this shirt last time we recorded too.
I don't even try to keep up with that anymore. I just try not to wear anything that looks like it's moving. Because sometimes if you wear too thin stripes, it looks like my shirt's like crawling.
Yum. Your Beetlejuice clothing?
Yeah.
Beetlejuice. Anyway, so this is Shy Creatures. It's Rambouillet. It was an interesting, very similar to merino type fiber to spin. It's a short staple. It's this has not been washed yet. I think it's gonna poof up. This is 420 yards, and I do probably still have around 40 yards on the bobbin, so that'll be like another 20 yards once I wind that off and ply it. So this was also fractally spun the same way, so you can see there's patches where the whites line up.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also a lot of, those segments are fairly short because of the fractal spinning, where one is split more than the other. I think one side was split into fourths and the other was just split. Like, so long color repeats with short. So I'm excited. I'm going to give that a wash. This one's staying in my stash. Other things that I'm spinning, which are on bobbins on the wheel, but you'll see finished when Leslie records in person with me on Sunday or Monday, whichever. I have some Knit Spin Farm Halloween batlings that I've finished spinning but haven't plied. I have some Southern Cross fiber that I'm spinning thicker, like a worsted weight, so the first half of that one's done. So there's a good bit of stuff on the wheel. I need to get stuff off the wheels actually before Leslie visits and get down to just one wheel because of SSK. I need to empty off some bobbins. So that's going to be the big goal this week.
The flat iron came today.
Oh, did it?
It did.
You were going to tell me, you told me you'd show me pictures and then you didn't text me any pictures. Yeah, lies
because I was on meetings from like noon until 5. But yeah, it came today. They actually shipped it to us completely assembled,
which is not usually the case
because they didn't have instructions yet on how to assemble it, but they really wanted us to have one for SSK because it's not out yet. It doesn't come out until August or September. Yeah. But they really wanted us to have one for SSK, so it got delivered on the back of an 18-wheeler truck from a pallet.
Oh wow. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Did you get to keep the pallet?
No, I didn't want to keep the pallet. I gave it to the nice FedEx truck driver, and yeah, I got it unpacked. Was he like, it was super easy. Yeah, he was. He was like, "It's a what?" But he was real nice. I got it unpacked. It's very light, so it's ready to go to SSK.
Can't wait to see it, for sure. Yeah, that's it for me for spinning. I did not spin yesterday. I got back and took a nap that lasted like 6 hours. So.
And we're not going to do a book review this week because Laura's going to talk about the ILA, and so you'll sort of get your fill on books there. So.
I'm pretty sure. And also the question for our week has to do with books.
Okay.
So the question is from A1 Dowan, and she says, "I'm not sure if this has already been asked. I ran a search in the thread, but didn't get any hits. I'm starting to feel like a more advanced knitter, so I'd like to try my hand at designing patterns. What are your favorite knitting stitch dictionaries?" So do you have some off the top of your head?
I mean, I think it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for really interesting, complicated, like lace, there's a bunch of Japanese stitch dictionaries, which are great for that.
They're hard to find, though.
Yeah.
You have to search for those.
But, I mean, I think probably the best and most tried and true ones are the Barbara Walker ones. Yeah.
So Barbara Walker did a collection of, I'm thinking 3 or 4.
There were 4, yeah.
4 total. One's just charted. And this one is just the original. and you can tell it gets used quite a bit in my house.
Mm-hmm.
This one has 500 different patterns, including knit purl, ribbing, color change, slip stitch, twist stitch, fancy texture, yarn over, eyelet patterns, lace cables, cable stitch patterns. So this one's a good one. We have reviewed some stitch dictionaries in the past, and if you get to the TheKnitGirll's website and there's a review tabs, book reviews, which is only up to like episode 200, I think, is there. So I got to get back on that and list the other ones. Was there any other ones that you were thinking about?
Not off the top of my head, only because I will design, but I don't necessarily enjoy doing it. So I don't have a ton of experience to draw on. But I will say, probably the ones that I most frequently land on are the Barbara Walkers.
They're good ones.
Vogue
They are
Press
black
and
and white.
Stittionaries.
Who did you say had dictionaries?
Vogue.
They
Yeah.
do.
And theirs are all segmented in a way where you can sort of buy what you're looking
Yes,
for,
so
like
this one's
cables
cables.
versus lace versus edgings versus, you know.
These ones, in contrast to Barbara Walker, are in color. They have both written and charted patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of see there. There are less of them in. So
Right.
the Barbara Walkers run around $30. These ones are also $30. Barbara Walkers are paperback. These are hardcovers, and these have around 200 patterns per book. This is the Cables one. They use, like I said, colors, and they're all like this one is all browns. I think lace is all green colors for the swatches. The swatches are done in nice light colors, so you can easily see them. So that's a good one. Another
There is, I'm just going to interject because we talked about Barbara Walker. There is a project, like a collective, collaborative thing online where people will knit a swatch in one of the patterns, and there's a way that they link it all up so you can see the stitch patterns in several in color and sometimes in several different.
Are they still doing that? Because they started that back in like 2008.
It updated, maybe not.
I mean, you can still use that reference.
Yeah, I mean,
like
there's a backlog of them. I think 2013 is the most recent.
Okay.
But it's got it divided by each book and then each chapter, and then there's pictures for each particular one. So that's cool that you can do that online, and it's free. You don't have to buy the book.
But it's just the swatches.
Right. The directions aren't there. Right.
Another one that I like is Interweave Press re-released. These were originally published as the Harmony Guides, and they were re-released through Interweave. These ones were $23 each. They're also in color. They also use clear, like lighter colors, so you can see the stitch patterns. They are not charted. They are only written directions. So, and there's one per page, whereas some of the other stitch dictionaries have like, oh, I guess there's two on some of these pages. But they are sorted, again, by like technique. So the lace one is pink, cables and errands is green, and I think there's a blue one that's just knit and purl stitches. Another good great stitch dictionary, and these are the newest of these. These are published by Melanie Fallick. This is the Winnie Bernard, Up, Down, All Around. She just published her second one, which I purchased it, but I haven't had a chance to look at it. It just came out in April, I think. It's been sitting in my pile of books to talk about. Maybe we'll review that when we're together, since we have I have the single copy. Maybe next week we'll review the second one of these. This is 150 popular stitch patterns, what makes this book different is it is spiral bound, which can drive me a little bit crazy, but sometimes people like that. I don't like it because it causes that lump to form.
Yeah.
But it is easier to lay something flat.
Right.
The cool thing about this is, let me get to a page. It's knit flat. It's got directions for flat and circular knitting, and everything's charted as well. Nice clear swatches. The pictures on the swatches are a little bit smaller because it's got the flat and the round charted and written. So, and it also has a few projects in here as well. So, for example, there's bed socks in here that use one of the stitch patterns. So, and this one, like I said, is around $30. So, a good stitch dictionary will run you 30. The Japanese are more like 50 to 75, depending.
Yeah, unless you can
They
find
are
them at like a
just
used
charted.
bookstore.
And the charts have their own special key for English directions that you need to find online and download for the Japanese ones. There's lots of great stitch dictionaries out there. If you're interested in brioche, Nancy Marchant's, I think is how you say her name. Her books are have some. There's books that have patterns and stitch dictionaries in them, and that's what her brioche books are like. There's a lot of cable ones like that out there as well. But these are the main. I'm sure I'm missing some, but those are like the main stitch dictionaries that I use most often, I would say. So thank you for that question. That's a good question. And Leslie's linked the Barbara Walkery Treasury online in the show notes as well. So why don't you talk about books and then I'll talk about books.
The books that I've been reading are smutty, and I'm not going to link them. But the ones that I've been reading, listening to, I listened to Match with Overdrive, the library app.
Ooh, the Ellie Condell book?
Yes.
Yeah,
and
trilogy. How did you like it?
It was okay. It was a little, like, overly young adult. Like, it was young, like...
Well, it is a young adult book.
Right. And I qualify it with that. If I were a teenager, I would probably love it a lot more than I do. I think it's good, but
one of the most popular dystopia books in my library.
Is it? Yeah. I mean, I think it's good, but I think that it moves a little slow for me. But if I were a teen, I would probably, it would probably be one of my favorite books because
it's not a super big book either. It's only around 300 pages.
Yeah, and it's one of a trilogy. I probably won't finish the trilogy.
Matched, Reached, and something with a C. I don't know.
Yeah, it's okay, but yeah, like Laura said, it's a sort of a dystopian future. Everything is controlled. Nobody,
it's a government dystopia.
Your match is chosen based on algorithms. Like your partner is chosen based on algorithms. Emotions are like locked down, and so it's an interesting book. And if you have a teenager, it's a good one. It's very safe as far as
very teen girl.
Yeah.
The protagonist is a female.
The most exciting thing happen is kissing.
Yeah.
So
it's not. It doesn't have any sex scenes in it. So it's pretty tame for the YA.
And then
it's more middle grades than YA.
Yeah, I would agree. It's definitely more middle school than high school. I have been listening to the Lock Moik series, which is I can listen to it free with Kindle Unlimited. It's one of those ones where you get the free audible narration.
Yeah.
It's a series of 4, and it's kind of Outlander-ish.
Oh.
There's time travel involved.
Oh, my coworkers and I had a long discussion about what peeves us about books, and I had 2 things, and of course time travel was one.
It's not something I typically listen to, but it's okay for sort of like it's like a beach read, it's not.
Do you have another? So I guess I really have 3 pet peeves with books. Do you have specific pet peeves?
I don't generally like time travel.
Okay.
I generally do not read books that have ghosts in them, just because.
Oh, that's right.
I
forgot about that.
I can embrace the paranormal. I can believe in magic. I can believe in like werewolves and witches, but when it gets to, I don't know, maybe I just
ghost relationships are Leslie's tipping point.
I just can't. Like you give me a werewolverine and a phoenix, and I'm all over it. But you give me a ghost who, no, I can't do it.
You can't do anything with ghosts, though, because you didn't like the Karen Chance series because it had ghosts in it.
It's not that I don't know. It's not that I don't like it. I just, I can't take it serious. I can't suspend disbelief enough to get
That's
immersed in the story.
that's the issue that we both have with time travel as well.
Yeah. Um, and there's other things like I love that with Amazon, self-publishing has become something that is attainable for people. And I
Hmm.
found a lot of great self-published books, but at the same time, I feel like some people didn't even send the book to their best friend to look at for punctuation problems
Yeah.
or spelling errors, like glaring ones. But as far as story-wise, it's time travel and ghosts are the things I don't. What were your?
So time travel is number one. The second one, we were discussing a very specific book, but any of those ones where, kind of like Big or was it Wacky Wednesday, where they switch bodies?
Hmm.
Like I'm so unhappy with myself that I'm gonna wish so hard to be someone else.
Yeah.
Like that bothers me a little bit. I would much rather, especially on the YA level, I would much rather see them evolve and come into their own as a person versus wishing that they were someone else so badly that they become someone else.
What about like Prince and the Pauper, where they switch
Well, that
places
they
in
switched places,
society, but they don't.
but that's not the same. The specific book that I had an issue with, we got one of my coworkers got an arc for it, and it was a little African American girl that was wishing so hard to be white,
Oh yeah.
and that really, as a premise, bothered me.
Well, I mean that's a an ingrained thing in that culture where the lighter you are, the better you are, and like it's a,
Yeah,
it's a
but and body
minefield
image
of
in general, like
yeah, it's
wishing that you were
terrible.
someone like you were the skinny popular cheerleader girl, even
Hmm.
those ones. Like it doesn't have to be a race thing, it doesn't have to be a socioeconomic thing. It's disliking yourself
Hmm.
so much that your main goal is to become someone else. Just bothers me.
What was the third thing?
Oh, now I forget. What was it?
Time
Oh,
travel.
no, anyone like Bella from if you are a whiny protagonist, I don't have time for your
I
nonsense.
can see
Like
that to an
if you're gonna
extent.
sit by a window and mope for 7 months while your vampire, I don't know, werewolf boyfriends duke it out and do all the hard lifting, but you're gonna sit there and mope and whine about how life is unfair. I can do a little because life is very unfair. But and I can do a little bit of that, but when we get 700 pages of that, it's like I hate Bella. Like mm,
She is not my favorite character, but that being said, I did read every book and I have watched
no.
all the movies
I
through
just read the
twice.
first one and I was done because I can't handle the whining. So that's what I can't handle whining, anyways. One of my favorite protagonists, those though, are protagonists who lie. Like, have you ever read The Thief by Megan Wellen Turner?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you need to read that book. So, when or False Prince by Jennifer Nelson. You need to read that as well, where the narrator is telling you the story, kind of like what's the Kevin Spacey film where he's the Usual Suspects, where he's making up this whole story.
I haven't
Now
seen it.
I'm spoiling the movie for anyone who hasn't watched it, but they're creating this story, and then at the end you find out it really was a story.
Hmm.
Like there's that twist at the end. I love books like that. But anyway, so lying in real life, super pet peeve. Lying as a character narrator, love it. All right, we got off topic. Was there anything else book wise?
Nothing that I am willing to talk
It's
about. I mean, yeah, my literary porn is not your literary porn. So, anyway,
there.
you just went to an educational book thing.
I
So,
did. So this is going to be all these books are YA or middle grade. I'll try to differentiate between them, and I don't have. And there's a picture book as well. I don't have. I didn't get every single author that I met to sign stuff. Some of them I didn't have their books with me, and some of them like I was just so starstruck, or I've seen them like 4 or 5 times, like Ruta, that I'm just like, I love you, Ruta. I'm just gonna go hang out with you for a little while because she's amazing. But I did get to see Kwame Alexander, who's the crossover, and now booked. Awesome middle grade novels. They do have, they are in poetry form,
Oh.
which, and he does picture books as well, and they are just amazing. They're very hip hop rapish poetry. The crossover has to do with basketball. Booked, the main character plays soccer, and the main character in book he does not like school a whole lot, but he's been surrounded by words his whole life because his father is like a linguistics professor.
Hmm.
So he is surrounded by words and he hates words and he hates reading, and all he wants to do is play soccer in the World Cup. And things turn around with him with a very cool hip hopping librarian. So I like his books a lot. He won the Newbery for crossover. Really cool guy. Really enjoyed meeting him. The book that I got signed for him is his professional development book for teachers. That is like huge, so I didn't grab that. I also got to meet Jude Winnick, and this is a new graphic novel series. There's going to be 6 total. This is Hilo. Hilo is kind of a combination of Calvin and Hobbes meets Superman. And so I sat in a graphic novel panel and I got to meet 3 really cool graphic novel people. And I kept looking at him and I was like, he looks so familiar. How do I know him? And I was texting my friend Becca later and she's like, that's the dude from Real World with Pedro and Puck that season at San Fran.
Oh, yeah.
That's that guy. So I was like, he looks so familiar. But it's been a couple years since 1992.
Yes.
Or 94, or whenever that was. But he was really neat. The whole panel on graphic novels was really cool. But he was telling us how he's seen librarians book talk or do his books as read aloud by taking taking pictures of one panel at a time and doing the voices with one panel at a time. So really cool graphic novel series. There will be 6 altogether, and this is Hilo. That's the first one. The third one comes out in November, I believe. Ruta Sepetys. Oh, Ruta Sepetys. I love her so much. She writes amazing historical fiction. Just absolutely incredible. Her first book was Between Shades of Grey. Not 50 Shades of Grey, but between Shades of Grey, which they're making into a movie. It is the story of a Lithuanian girl after World War II, and her father is like a general in the army. And when the Russians come and take over Lithuania, they send all the infrastructure people, like the military generals and their families, to Siberia.
Oh.
And they're basically forced under railroad cars and sent to Siberia. It's based on a true story. It's actually what happened to her family. Her parents were Lithuanian immigrants and were forced to live in camps and some other very scary things about history. She writes history that she does not want forgotten. And she's just amazing. This is the story. It's 4 people's stories. These are all 3 of her books. Ooh. Salt to the Sea is the 3rd. They're all separate. This is the story of the Wilhelm Gustloff, which was a ship that was filled with refugees in 1945, people trying to flee Europe. And it is one of the worst maritime disasters of all time. So it's not, her books are not happy.
Yeah.
They're not gonna be the happiest books in the world, but she writes stories that are historical that have kind of been forgotten. And the cool thing about this book is she starts and ends each chapter. Well, it's 4 different points of view, but each one has the first line as a starting of the chapter for the first 4 chapters and the same ending line. So it starts like, for Joanna, guilt is a hunter, and the last line is bang. For Amelia, it's shame is a hunter. So it uses repetition.
It ties, them together.
Yeah, the 4 stories together really well. Lori Hulse Anderson is amazing if you have not read her Fever book or Speak. Um, this is incredible. She does primarily realistic fiction, but also historical fiction, Chains and Forge are in her historical fiction. This one is The Impossible Knife of Memory. It is so well written. This and this are YA. Hilo is middle grades. This is a story of Haley, who has two jobs, both attending high school and caring for her father, who's got PTSD.
Mm.
So it talks about how she has to help him conquer his demons, and also try to survive and live her life as well. Lori was amazing, sweetest person. A lot of these authors, they go, not these ones, but some of the authors go and they send books and they're like, whatever, hey, bye.
Yeah.
There was a long line to see her, and we were at the front of the line because we got there really early because we wanted to get her to meet her. So there were 5 minutes before the start of when she was signing a book. She walked through the line and talked to every single person. And then when we got up there, she took pictures with us. She talked to us, asked us where we were from. Was really, really nice. The same with this lady, Lauren Tarshish. She does the I Survived books. These are super popular with my sixth graders. They're lower mid grade, like third grade up to sixth grade. They're historical fiction, and the whole series is I Survived. So it's I Survived Joplin Tornado, I Survived Hindenburg, I Survived 9/11. And she was like, it says appeals to third to fifth graders on it. My sixth graders eat these up, and they're short, and they're great for kids who. I survived the New Jersey shark attacks. Like, have you ever heard that story about there were sharks in New Jersey in like 1900. One, a great white, swam up like a river into New Jersey and killed like 4 people.
Wow.
It's one of the I think it's the 100-year anniversary this year. But all sorts of different, it's a whole series. Great for kids who might not be exposed to this type of history any other way. And very kind of large fonts with pictures. So she was really sweet as well. Oh, I love Steve. He writes nonfiction, amazing nonfiction. This one is based on the Vietnam War, but he also did Bomb, which was based on the development of the atomic bomb, and a bunch of other really good books. Currently the best nonfiction historical author for teens, for sure. And he's really nice as well. I sat in a panel with him and Candace Fleming, who did Amelia Lost, and Rick and his wife, who also do. It was a nonfiction panel, and it was really interesting what they had to say. Pie by Sarah Weeks. Sarah Weeks was also very sweet. These kind of are like Joan Bauer type mysteries, but also very funny. It's about, I've read this one. I actually got it for Julia. So it says for Julia on it. It is about a girl whose aunt is famous for her world famous pie crust recipe. And the aunt passes away and leaves the recipe in her will to her cat Lardo. But people are trying to, they're all trying.
Why does a cat need a recipe? I'm confused.
Well, everyone's trying to win this contest, and I don't know. You'll have to read the book. I'm not going to tell you. And last but not least, on autograph books, Nikki Grimes writes books, historical books, but also current books for anywhere from picture books up to YA. And this is her new picture book, and she was really sweet. And she gave me her camera to take pictures of the line and stuff for her. So I was like her unofficial photographer, but she does great stuff as well. I also got to meet Jack Gantos, who I absolutely adore. I didn't have any of his books, but he wrote the Joey Pigza books, which are about like a third to fourth grader who's got ADHD, and it's like a glimpse inside his brain.
Mm-hmm.
The book that he was on a panel with Ruda about YA. He's got a book called Hole in My Life. He's got two memoirs. Whole of My Life is about him serving time in prison because he did go to prison. And the newest book is about how 2 weeks of his life fundamentally kind of led him astray. So he decided he wanted to be just like, they moved to a new area in Florida, and he wants to be just like his neighbor, this neighborhood kid who's a juvenile delinquent and very manipulative and has a lot of sociopathic tendencies. And so, like, this kid would be like, we're going to play the Olympics. And they would actually pour diesel fuel onto their pool, light it on fire. The younger kids would go swimming while this older kid would throw cherry bombs in the pool. And
Nice.
basically, if you survived, you won his Olympics.
These are things that we want middle schoolers reading.
No, I mean, but it's not, that's a side note in the story. That's not the focus of the story. The focus of the story is becoming an individual versus following a group or not, and what happens and consequences for actions. But Jack Gantos is amazing. He did go to prison, and Whole of My Life is about his time in prison. He was a drug mule. Some guy offered him a lot of money to bring drugs back into the United States, and he took it and got caught. So it's more like they're memoirs, so real stories that happened to him throughout his life. And then I'm gonna butcher her name, but Ugbamasola Rude Perkovich was in. She was one of the authors in a panel about We Need Diverse Literature, and she wrote a book called Eighth Grade Super Zero, and I was sitting there knitting, and she is a knitter, and she's on Ravelry, and she friended me on Ravelry, so she was really cool. I actually already had her book in my library. It was a Junior Library Guild selection a couple months ago, which is unusual for our first book. And really cool author, really cool person. She likes to knit hats, so I told her about Woolly Wormhead. But yeah, she's really, really sweet. And she actually went on and bought Walking in Memphis from me.
Aw,
So
that's
it was
nice.
really neat to meet her. The We Need Diverse Literature movement is a super important one. So I was excited to sit and listen to some things about that. And now I've just like totally, I had a really good time, and I met lots of cool people and got some really innovative ideas for my library. So really, really great ILA this year. On favorite things, we have some upcoming, well, we are in the midst of Stash Dash, and
Yep.
Stash Dash is crazy. We did do a little mini episode explaining the rules of Stash Dash, and there's written rules as well as one of the pages of our Knit Girls group on Ravelry. It's never too late to join Stash Dash.
Nope.
You're welcome to join us at any point of time up until it ends in August. We also have the Freddie
Loves the Knit Girls.
Knit Girls, thank you. Fiber and yarn
Knit
spin
along,
along
spin along.
we're doing. That is going on currently and will go on till the end of Stash Dash. I have Stash Dash prizes to show.
Oh, cool. Sure.
So I've been collecting them and I haven't been showing them, so I'm going to take care of that now. This is from One Hook Double Stitch. The base is Bailey and the colorway is After the Storm. It's so pretty.
Oh, wow.
And she does like these really cool stitch markers. Look, there's a fortune cookie stitch marker in there too.
Oh, wow.
I thought this was absolutely gorgeous. So it's an 80% superwash BFL, 20% nylon, 400 yards, and that is from One Hook Double Stitch. Then we're going to get to meet this person, Stranded Dye Works, Oasis Base.
Oh, yeah.
This is Amy. She's got a great podcast, Stranded Dye Works, as well as Dye's incredible yarn. This is her Fun Fair colorway. It's a 75-25 merino nylon blend. It's really, really pretty, and it's 464 yards. So some great yardage.
Yeah, it's good yardage.
I feel like it's not showing up as pretty as it really is.
Well, I've seen it online because when she was doing the sale before she left, I went and looked, but everything that I liked had already been bought, so.
Oh. This is Cheeky Garden.
Ooh, that's a fun
Is by
name.
any other name. Isn't that pretty? She does like plants inspired colorways. This is an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon,
That's really
and
pretty.
a merino sock. Yeah, I like her stuff a lot. So it's got like a pink that's been over dyed with a darker, like a black wash. It's really, really pretty. We have two bags. So this is from, I'm going to just show you her shop.
Nekozuki
Yeah.
Knits.
And this is her small wedge bag. This one is a cowboy theme. And the inside.
She also sells those project keepers, right?
Yes.
The
The
needle
yarn.
keepers or whatever they are.
These things.
Yeah.
This is one of hers actually. She gave to me. That I need to use. I need to pull that out and put it on a project. And then the other bag from her. This is also small wedge.
Oh.
Oops. And the inside is pink polka dots.
Aw.
So those are both from her.
I like the double tabs that she's got.
Yeah, I like that a
Something
lot
different.
because you can put like a carabiner around there
Yeah.
whenever you need to. It would be easy to hook in. Yeah, that makes it a little bit different than some other people's wedge bags. So there are 5 current project prizes for SSK, and we'll have more as well, I'm
That's
sure.
not SSK, that's Stash
Or
Dash.
dash dash. Thank you. I knew what I meant.
Yes. I just want to make sure because we have SSK prizes too, but they're separate.
Yeah, they are
So-
separate. If you're interested in the SSK prizes and supporting those people, there's blog posts that I've been doing on the SSK website. I need to get the second one up. It's going to happen tomorrow. We have a live podcast that is going to happen Monday night, next Monday, 7/18, and there is a link in the show notes.
Yep.
Do we want to discuss Portland retreat info this week, or would you rather wait another week? We can do it together.
Yeah, let's do it together.
Okay.
We just need to make sure that we do it.
Sign-ups are going to be in August, the beginning of August for that.
Yeah.
And we'll have all the information next week. It is Portland, Oregon. That is
Yes.
important
The
to say.
retreat is the weekend of St. Patrick's Day.
Yep. The 16th through 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. Yeah. 16th through the
Yeah.
19th.
It starts on Thursday the 16th and it goes the 6th. Well, you check in on Thursday, yes, and then the 16th of March, and then we'll have classes and events and things 17th and 18th, and then the 19th is Sunday, and that's breakfast and go home.
Yep.
So,
We have SSK coming up next week. So
Yes.
after Monday, we will not be super available, and neither will the minions on the boards. So all of our Beck and Jess both attend SSK.
So
So if-
SSK, if you're new, is Super Summer Knit Together. It's
Yes.
a retreat we do in Nashville every summer. This is our 5th year doing it, and it is a lot of fun, but it is draining. So we won't be online as much. And
We'll just be busy. So if you
Yes.
need to send us an email, would be the best way of getting in touch with us.
we'll record the live podcast next week, next Monday, but that's it. We're not doing another show, are we?
No, we won't
recording
do a show
two.
on- We'll do one on Sunday night when you get here, and then we'll do the live one.
So we are doing 2.
Yes, but we won't do the following Sunday.
Okay, I don't know what we'll have to talk about 2 days in a row, but we'll figure it out.
We will, because the live podcast is just like a stash dash check-in.
And then the following week we will not record because I'll get home either Sunday or Monday, and I will need quiet for a while to get back to sanity. And so after next week, we won't record again until the last weekend of the month.
Yep, we'll do a Patreon giveaway that last weekend of the month.
And speaking of Patreon, we just want to say thank you to all the lovely people who support us through Patreon. It allows us to go places and meet new teachers to bring into future events, or meet vendors who will give us prizes for future events, or
Yep. Nail
shipping for those
prizes.
prizes, all sorts of things. It helps us to cover the cost of, so we appreciate it. Whether or not you donate, we appreciate that you still watch us because we've been doing this a long
Yes.
time.
Just a bit.
And we are not the only choice out there.
No, there's lots of great podcasts out there, so
Yeah.
we appreciate you watching.
So I think that's all I got. Do you have anything
Yep.
else?
Nope, that's it. I'm gonna go to knit night.
Yeah, I've got to do laundry, and then I think I'm gonna get my nose pierced.
Oh, no way. Can you
Yeah.
do that at work?
Yeah, I talked to my boss, and she's like, I don't care.
Awesome.
So
Are you
I,
gonna get stutter or hoop?
a little teeny tiny little stud. They have the ones that have like a hook, like a, so it's not like a stud that just sits in your nostril. It's like a hook that sits against the inside of your nostril, so it's not like in the way of anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
That'll be fun.
I gotta find a local place, and
Or you could wait to, I don't know if the tattoo place in Nashville does
I
piercings
don't
or
think they do
I don't
piercings.
think that one does.
Um, but anyway,
Awesome.
I'm cool enough to get a piercing. Yes, I am. Anyway.
I was cool enough in my 20s to get two and don't have either anymore.
I still have piercings, but my sister has some like up at the top of her ear, but that's never interested me. I mean, I like the ones
Oh, I
that are
had
there,
those.
but
Yeah, they're all right.
okay. Now we're just babbling, and this
Yep.
is like an hour and 15 minutes long already. So
Okay.
you guys have a lovely week, and we'll check in again on Sunday.
Sunday.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
y'all.